a very good chance that November is going to be way better than October. And frankly, a lot of the headwinds that we've been facing on a macro scale, they'll soon be behind us. I mean, some of them actually are, including what happened just in the last several days after the FOMC meeting, the federal funds rate being reduced yet again, quantitative tightening coming to an end as of December 1st. These are great things. The markets like predictability. That's why that matters. And I know there was a sell the news event the other day with the good news of that and the good news of the China tariff situation probably getting worked out. These headwinds will become tailwinds. Like that's what's going to happen. And I got to tell you, as it pertains to XRP, this market cycle, I believe, will end with a boom, not a bust. It would be so bizarre if we hung around, if this is the actual top. It would be so weird if we just hung around here in this price range for so long without the actual cratering happening. That would be unlike any move into a bear market that we've seen in crypto's 16 plus year history. I just don't buy that. I believe this year's almost over. And think back just a year ago. I made a post mentioning this just like a few hours or so ago. And I'm paraphrasing myself here, but basically I posted, if I knew 1 year ago today that 1 year later, which is now, that the crypto market cap would be as high as it is right now, I would have been ecstatic. Think about it. The market cap for the entire crypto asset class is $3.6 trillion. Do you know what it was right before the election? It was $2.2 trillion. So we're from $2.2 trillion to $3.6 trillion. Have some freaking perspective. And if the coins you hold aren't up, I just got to ask, what the hell are you holding? If you have broad exposure to the crypto asset class and you're holding mostly large caps and some mid caps, you should be doing okay, right? What the hell are you holding that you're not, like, I don't expect every coin to be up 1 year later, but geez, something. How did you miss that much of the move? The market's up substantially higher. Think about that. It's up over 50%. And this is after the pullback, and it's still up that much. XRP at $2.50. Bitcoin at $110,000. These prices are after the pullback. If you were here a year ago, and I know most of you were, wouldn't you have just been freaking thrilled to know that would be the case? Yeah, the answer is obviously yes. Here's a post from Charlie Bolello. He's highlighting the S&P 500 bull and bear markets, how long each lasts, how long do bull markets last, how long do bear markets last. And he wrote, bull markets have lasted 5 times longer than bear markets on average. Bulls, plus 254% over 5 years. Bears, negative 31% over just 1 year. Markets spend far more time growing wealth than destroying it. Why interrupting compounding is the biggest risk of all. Exactly. And that's why for me, what do I do after I buy? I do literally nothing. And it works, folks. It works in the stock market. It works in crypto. You have broad exposure. That's it. I don't know why more influencers out there don't just highlight this very easy method that just freaking works. And then just encourage people to maybe consider that, as opposed to getting in and out of positions instead of encouraging people to buy courses so you can trade and this and that. Like, that is not to the benefit of the average human. If you want to go do that stuff, that's fine. If you really want to get into trading, a small percentage of humans make it work. About 5% of humans are regularly profitable when it comes to trading. That's not for regular people. Like myself, for example, and I assume most of you listening here. You don't even need that to get ridiculously rich in crypto. You just need to hold. And so I'll just tell you this. Just be careful who you listen to. Because if you're listening to analysts who are bearish more than 20% of the time, you're listening to a fool. Because on average, the market, it's only down about, you only have a bear market about 20% of the time. The rest of the time, it's up. And so just holding through that volatility that's negative, history has shown us, on the whole, that's a pretty damn good idea. So you guys do whatever you want. I don't know what's best for you on an individual level. There can be valid reasons to sell even when the market's down. Maybe there's, you got crazy unexpected medical expenses. Who knows? Life happens. I get it. But just generally speaking, have some freaking intestinal fortitude here, folks. I'm just telling you. Number go up. It does not make sense to be fearful here. Even if we were entering a bear market, which I do not believe, it does not make sense to be fearful. Get those emotions the hell out of here. I'm just saying. Here's a post from Cryptos Are Us, one of the more popular analysts in all of crypto, 293,000 followers on X, but I mean, this guy's got, I think, 800, maybe close to 900,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think he's a pretty level-headed guy. And so he wrote here, Mike Novogratz, monster pool of capital is coming to Bitcoin. And I'm highlighting this because it's another famous figure in crypto who absolutely recognizes there's so much money out there, liquidity. Oh my God. It's going to be flowing into crypto. And so he writes here, Mike Novogratz, billionaire investor and CEO of Galaxy Digital, a crypto-focused merchant bank, said, quote, that's a monster pool of capital. More avenues bringing people into this ecosystem, end quote. With global M2 money supply rising, much of this newly issued liquidity is likely to flow into digital assets, amplifying adoption and demand. Okay, that's more than reasonable speculation because history shows us absolutely that's what happens. You can see the yellow line on your screen, that's global M2, that's the liquidity. And then you got the Bitcoin price here with the red and green candles. So it's not that you're going to see perfect correlation 100% of the time, but directionally, Bitcoin follows global M2 close to 90% of the time. That's the perspective of Raoul Pal, by the way, who I think is a great source for knowledge when it comes to crypto and just financial markets in general. So to think it no longer works, it's just not going to go up because reasons. Oh, okay. Good luck there, buddy. You're going to freaking need it while the rest of us get our life-changing wealth. Yeah. Enjoy your ramen noodles forever. Here's a post from chart analyst Tech Dev. Popular analyst, 552,000 followers. You got the price of Bitcoin up top. That's what this chart is. And then on the bottom, you have a separate metric, business cycle signal. And he writes here, business cycle wise and macro structure wise, not just Bitcoin, the most recent point of a similar market positioning was October 2020. Then Bitcoin was $10,000 and Ethereum $300. It's crazy to think that Ethereum only $300. Now Bitcoin $100,000 and Ethereum $3,000. Of course, Ethereum's higher than that right now. But still, I mean, I think it is, right? It's got to be. Yeah, almost 4,000, 3,874. He's rounding. It's fine. I get the cut of his jib. But look, the business cycle refers to recurring phases in the economy. Okay, expansion, peak, contraction, recovery. There's no single universal formula for this metric, but here are the main macro metrics that are typically used to track the business cycle. Which again, it's a very important metric here, and it would be inflation, employment, money supply, manufacturing strength, corporate profit trends, and central bank policy. And so together, these signal when the economy is contracting or expanding. That's what the business cycle is. And crypto tends to take off as liquidity expands and growth accelerates after a slowdown. And right now, those signals resemble late 2020 conditions, right before the last major crypto boom. And that's why I started the video saying, guys, like, it's just my opinion, my humble opinion. But yes, I do believe that this cycle is going to end with a boom, not a bust. Crypto-wide, but specifically for XRP as well. That's my bet. And if I'm wrong, maybe it goes to zero and I lose everything. Technically possible. I don't believe that's remotely probable at all. I sleep like a baby every single night. So, in fact, if I didn't have my exposure to XRP, that would keep me up at night. You kidding me? I embrace the volatility. That's the purpose of investing, is volatility. So yeah, number go up, my friends. Here's a post from Crypto Seth, chart analyst. And he says, do you think that Bitcoin has been ranging for 6 months at the top so that all the plebs, all the dumb retail had a chance to exit at the top? My answer is no, because we've never seen that in history. We've never seen, Bitcoin and thus the entire crypto asset class hit a top, and then but it's just a ranging top for half a freaking year. And it gives you the market's giving you half a year to just get the hell out of your position. Never seen that. I do not believe that is the case. I really don't. I'm just telling you. Here's a post from Credible Crypto. And he's talking about Bitcoin here. And this is important. Even if you're like me, I always say this. If you care most about altcoins and maybe specifically XRP, that's my heaviest bag, that's for damn sure. It's my largest individual crypto holding. You should still care about what Bitcoin does because it leads the market. And so Credible Crypto, and this is the latest of what he had to say about Bitcoin from just the other day. He said, says, getting a ton of people crying in the comments, it's so over if we go under $100,000. A move back under $100,000 would still only be about 20% down from the highs. We have already had 5 pullbacks larger than this during this higher time frame uptrend. And you can see these pullbacks going back to 2023. Look at this. And every single one of these, by the way, I reported on every single one of them. It was all the end of the world, end of the world, end of the world. This one was the end of the world. This one also the end of the world. This one also the end of the world. And the one we're in now, also the end of the world. And we haven't even gone down to 100K. I'm just saying, like, even where we are now, people are already saying that. And so he says, if a 20% move off the highs is enough to shake you out, you're simply not going to make it in this space, because when you are in one of the most volatile markets in the world, you need to be comfortable with volatility. But cred, by the time we get to $74,000, everything will be dead. And that's the where he draws. That's the line in the sand for him, $74,000. And he says, number one, no, they won't. Number two, even if they get hammered, if this is just a dip before continuation, they will all go back up and higher. Number three, $74,000 is not some arbitrary number that I am choosing as invalidation. It is the level that market participants have shown us is relevant on higher time frame based on price action. That's all. Yes, it is 40% below the highs of $126,000, but as you can see from the chart, we've had 2 30% drawdowns off the highs already, and both were just corrections before the next impulsive move. Meaning, you can't take some arbitrary percent drawdown to determine when to throw in the towel, or you likely will sell the bottom of what is a normal for this market correction due to unwarranted panic and fear. When you have extremely volatile markets like this one, where 20 to 30% drawdowns are the norm before 50 to 100% rises, your higher time frame and validation levels are then logically going to have to be deeper than that. So $74,000 being higher time frame and validation is absolutely not as crazy as many are trying to make it sound. Again, chart below is the higher time frame idea, which should serve as a reminder that any pullbacks below $100,000 but above $74,000 are just low time frame noise, and that before our parabolic expansion continues. So there's a hell of a vote of confidence, and all of that makes logical sense. I mean, do you agree, disagree? Tell me in the comment section, but to me that makes a ton of sense. Here's a post from Crypto Wizard, bearish rejection. Now that's a beautiful retest. Bitcoin dominance pulled back during the October 10th crash, but it closed the month having rejected the broken higher low trend line with a shooting star, weather the storm. So he's saying in terms of Bitcoin dominance, it's poised to fall even lower, which is fantastic. Bitcoin price can go up as dominance goes down, and historically that's normal, and then you get alt season. Nothing's broken here, folks. Nothing is broken here. Here's a post from Crypto Insight UK, XRP. It says, people think XRP top is in and liquidity looks like this with this little open interest. Literally mostly shorts. Okay, so yeah, some people are already calling the top for XRP. True, but the data isn't backing that up, okay? Look at open interest. If this were a real cycle top, you'd expect massive liquidity. You'd expect euphoric long positions. And retail just piling in with leverage like freaking crazy. Instead, open interest is still relatively low, and it's mostly shorts. That's not what a blow-off top looks like, okay? Tops happen when everyone's convinced price only goes higher, not when traders are still betting against XRP. So, I mean, if anything, this setup looks more like fuel for a short squeeze than the end of the move. So just say, stay level-headed, but don't let fear headlines convince you that the party's already over. It's just my opinion, fine, but I say boom, not bust is coming. Here's a post from chart analyst Ali Martinez. For XRP, resistance stands at $2.80 and $3, while support holds at $2.50. So another analyst saying like, hey, I mean, you can draw the conclusion from it. We're sitting here in between that range. Nothing's broken right now, despite the doom speak. Here's chart analyst CW says, in the short term, XRP has 2 selling walls. If it breaks through these, there are no specific selling walls until about $3. And so that's a key level to watch. Here's a post from Chart Nerd. He says, XRP, EW5 in motion, a large sprint to support before a breakout towards all-time highs. $2 is the key support base to hold if we see a wick below the trend line. So there's another analyst saying pretty similar things here, $2 support level. And then he says in a separate post, XRP's dominance remains above a golden cross formation on its monthly 20/55 EMAs. That's 12 months of accumulation above key moving averages, being above the 3% ratio is bullish, period. And I think that's fair enough. So I think that this percentage is going to go way, I don't know where it'll peak. I don't make predictions like that, but I think it's going to go way higher directionally. I believe it's going to go way higher before you see a peak for the cycle. So yeah, my humble opinion is that the best is yet ahead. Higher, my friends. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea.